Knock knock, let 'em in. It's me, your boy Squints here, and we're back with episode number 5 of my 0 to Hero challenge, where I am hugging my way from 0 to 3k rating on a spec I have never played before in Mythic Plus. Now let's just dive right in and see what we got out of the vault this week. This week the vault upgrade was sweet. We got a pair of 483 Mythic boots, which was a huge item level upgrade from our 457 champion boots, leaving us with one last piece of champion gear, which is just our shoulders. It's tyrannical, incorp, sanguine week, so it should be a pretty good push week. That's what I was expecting at least, but you're gonna have to stick around to find out how it really turned out. I ended up getting a 21 Waycrest Manor out of my vault, so I figured I'd pug myself a group and dive right into that. The tank I ended up selecting was a little undergeared and he was getting obliterated at times, but we did end up timing this key, although we were short on percentage and I called it out before we went downstairs, but we killed the last boss, teleported back to the front, and ended up killing some trash just in the nick of time to end up timing this key. It probably would have not been as close as this 8 seconds left on the timer if the Warlock kind of came and helped us, but he opted not to, so that was pretty cool of him. After that Waycrest Manor, my key turned into a 22 Rise, and I did end up timing it. I did struggle a little bit through this key, but it was really funny because right at the end during the final boss, someone in the group randomly yells, "Hi YouTube," and I was like, what the heck? And it really threw me off. I was like, he has to be talking to me, right? So I ended up asking him at the end of the key if that comment was aimed at me, and he said yes, and that he just ended up recognizing on that fight that he was just watching my YouTube video before he ended up going to this dungeon. So that was pretty cool. It was a pretty hype moment. Shout out to Conquistador. And it was pretty funny because he ended up having my favorite key, which was a 24 Throne of Tides, but I ended up pulling a 23 Throne of Tides after we timed that dungeon, so I was, as you know, pretty damn disappointed. I was not excited about that whatsoever. If you think I was excited, you clearly did not watch the last video. So I said, let's send it into this 23 Throne of Tides. What could possibly go wrong after last week? And yeah, basically everything went wrong. Gonna cut to the chase. I don't even think we made it to the first boss on any of these keys, but we bricked that Throne of Tides all the way down to a 20. Apparently the first hallway is impossible for a tank to survive between the enrage and the dogs, and yeah, I don't know. I don't think people were CCing or really doing anything, which really got me to start to believe that I am in the pug bracket of hell at the moment, where you're either gonna get people that know how to use all their abilities, defensives, and CCs, or you're gonna get the people that just don't do any of that whatsoever. But yeah, we bricked that key all the way down to a 20, but are we really that surprised after last week's Throne of Tide bonanza I ended up having? Probably not. So I needed a Throne of Tides break. Obviously, I needed to take care of my mental because I was probably gonna go crazy if I kept trying to push that Throne of Tides key. So I ended up pugging into a 22 BRH, which I was feeling confident about, but it was just a crap show. I don't think we had the CC to cover this. We ended up bricking the key. It did not go very well, but hell, you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. I was also trying out Beacon of Virtue during this. I did not like it, and things were just feeling out of whack, so I just went back to Beacon of Faith, which I knew best because I've been playing with that for the last 4 weeks. But after that little bricked key, I said, hell, let's go back to my 20 Throne of Tides. We ended up timing it. I felt pretty damn good about it because the tank was very pleased with my healing and complimented me, so shout outs, thank you. I appreciate the compliments. This is a public service announcement. Please single target sentries. If you single target the sentry and do not blow up massive AoE, you will reduce the damage increase from swell. Please do so you do not struggle on the hallway of doom in Throne of Tides Fortified. Thank you. And that ended up turning my key into a plus 21 Waycrest Manor, because why would the game ever give me a key with some IO that I actually need? I don't know, it's possibly never going to happen. So I decided to plug myself into a 21 Fall. We ended up timing that, no big deal. Then I said, let's go get a Dark Heart Thicket done. I really just need a time 20. And we lost to the game's massive lag spike where my game crashed on the third boss, and that just honestly threw the key. I think think we were totally fine and we were gonna time that key, but that threw the key. After that one, I plugged into a 21 AD, timed that quick, easy peasy. Love me some AD no matter what week it is. And then I ended up getting myself into a 23 fall, and I feel awful in this one. I was thoroughly disappointed with myself because we were set up to time it, and it just totally slipped my mind, but I just totally forgot to heal Chromie, which caused a wipe, which resulted in us not timing the dungeon.
What on God's green earth were you thinking?
And then I said, hell, let me dive into another pug group, so I ended up getting into a plus 24 fall. And then this is where I noticed that my item level kind of started to show. I was getting a lot of one-shots. I was just getting one-shot a ton here, and it was just really hard. And then a lot of other people were also kind of getting one-shot, and it really just came down to I don't think people are interrupting again or CCing. And then this just led to a brick and people left, obviously. That's how this usually goes around these levels. People are here for the IO, so if we ain't timing it, they're out. Deuces.
Bye.
So after that 24 fall, I plugged myself into a 22 AD just to grab myself some more IO. The tank wanted to start with the go left strat. I was there for it. I don't mind that strat. But he was very ambitious and was pulling some very large groups where we did not have the stuns or crowd control to really prevent any of those casts from going off. And that's what happened here, and everybody obviously left because we were not timing this. So I said, let's take it back to my key, and I ended up doing my plus 20 Waycrest Manor, and we ended up plus 2 in it, but I ended up with the 22 Rise. Of course, why wouldn't this game not give me something that I already had the IO for? Because that would just be ridiculous if the game did that. Am I right? So I said, hell, I don't need that. So I plugged into a 22 fall and we timed it. And the best thing was I got shoulders out of here, bringing them from champion to hero. It was a 10 item level upgrade. So of course I brought those to the catalyst and turned them into some tier, which was sweet. But I also ended up swapping my 22 Rise and got a 22 AD, which is IO. So I plugged a group for my 22 AD and we bricked it on the last boss. But I said, let me jump into a Dark Heart Thicket. It's the one key I don't have timed at a plus 20, and that would get me just the 8 IO that I needed to break into 2800 to just put us at like 200 away from finishing this challenge. But it was another brick. We ended up finishing the dungeon, but it was just another brick. I don't know what's up with Dark Heart Thicket. The beginning of this dungeon's kind of challenging, but really on Fortified Week, everything from the middle to the end really isn't that bad. There's some little interrupts you gotta hit, but it is not as hard as people were making it be this week. Holy crap. And I was just really determined to end up getting a 20 Dark Heart Thicket done. So after this one, I went into another one, and the tank was just not tanking. He was just not very good. And yeah, we bricked another one, but everyone stuck through this one, but all 4 of us, minus the tank, were feeling the tank's pain. There was just really weird decisions. It felt like he was gonna pull slow and then would go large and then fight things in terrible spots, which ended up just pulling more trash and then pulled unnecessary trash. And it was a mess. It was kind of a mess. The tank kind of just threw that one. But at least throughout the dungeon, we all kind of laughed about it, and that was fine, you know, but whatever, we got it done. But again, no IO. I still have an untimed 20 Dark Heart Thicket during Fortified Week, which should be just some free IO, so I'm pretty disappointed about that. I just want the damn rating at this point. That's all I want. Why is it every week so far there's a new dungeon that just does not want to get completed? And this week was Dark Heart Thicket, people. Let me know if you guys had some challenges this week, because in my opinion, this week is a very good push week, and I don't know why people had such a hard time. It was Incorp and Sanguine. That's not 2 challenging affixes. Those are pretty easy in my opinion, and it felt like it should have been a pretty easy week to push. I don't know if everybody was just on Pal World, except, I don't know, the people that just didn't know what they were doing, but it was just all over the place this week. I don't know what was going on. It was just terrible, but I do just kind of believe at this point that I am in the pug bracket of hell, which I would call any key level from 20 to 24. It is just a terrible little spot to be in, and that's the spot we gotta live in though to hit 3K. It's gonna require all 22s and a couple 23s. 24 might help boost that. But yeah, this bracket of key level is just terrible. You're at the point where people need to know what to interrupt, how to use their CCs, when to use their personal defensives, and really try not to overlap everything on top of each other. Otherwise, you're just pretty much set up to fail. You're kind of really reliant on player skill level, where everything kind of up until this point, either I could just really heal us through, or you could just have one or two people that knew what to do and what was important to interrupt or kick or CC, and that would be enough to kind of get you through the dungeon. But that does not work at this level anymore. Like the 20 to 24 bracket, you really need to know what you're doing. And that kind of leads me to, I wish WoW kind of had an option to allow people to learn and like hug into learning groups that maybe gave a whole item level down of what you're getting. So like, for example, in a 20 key, we get a hero piece of gear. So maybe if you did a 20 dungeon that's untimed and you're just doing it for completion with the affixes of the week to learn the mechanics and what you kind of need to do with no timer and like no penalties, and you got like a piece of champion gear, I think that would be really cool. Even if you got no crest or anything, or like very little crest, or like the crest down. So instead of getting aspects, you would get like dreaming whelpling quest or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, but baby quest, huh?
You need some type of reward or incentive, or people are just never going to do it. It would be super helpful. And like, I myself would volunteer to be like a group leader and teach people how to do mechanics and things like that. I think that would be really fun and really just healthy and good for the community overall. Let me know what you guys think. It was just kind of a one-off idea I had while I was in the shower today, you know, hashtag shower thoughts while I was scrubbing my, but yeah, let me know what you think of that idea, or if you guys have any ideas on ways to help the community learn Mythic Plus in environments that are not the key that everybody's trying to time. And now to round it out with our weekly recap, we are at 2792, which brings us only 208 rating away from completing this challenge. I really need to clear a 20 Rise, Waycrest Manor, Everbloom, and Throne of Tide during this tyrannical week. I'm gonna really push to try and do those 3 dungeons and just hit them, time them, and get them out of the way before I ended up flying away for vacation. And once again, we're gonna have a full Mythic vault, so we're hoping for some good loot out of there and no duplicates on the items that we already have at Mythic. And this will definitely help boost my item level a little bit more. It's currently at 477, but I really want to try and get to that 480. I do have an enchanted crest ready, and I'm probably going to upgrade my bracers to 486 this upcoming week, because I'm really just trying to get my item level to that 480 threshold, because I think the 22 to 24 range, some of the damage coming out and hitting me is a little spotty, and I just need extra stamina and extra armor to be able to survive. And with all of that, folks, that wraps up episode 5 and week 5 of the Zero to Hero challenge. I hope you've all been enjoying this. I've definitely been enjoying learning Holy Paladin, and I am definitely eager and excited to continue to learn Holy Paladin and make it an alt in the future, and hopefully make some guides for it. Honestly, you have all helped a ton in me learning this spec, and honestly enjoy playing this spec so much that I want to make more content for it even after this challenge. And of course, if you can't get enough of your boy, make sure to follow me on my other socials where I post some silly comments and other short form videos and such. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell if you want to get notified, and I'll see y'all next time.